The conference hall on Neutral Station Epsilon hummed with the soft vibration of artificial gravity. General Elsa Martinez stood at the human delegation's podium, her silver hair pulled back in a tight bun, medals from 3 centuries of service gleaming on her chest. Across the vast chamber, the Zakarthian representatives, towering beings with crystalline exoskeletons that refracted the station's light into prismatic displays, waited in their designated section. Jixon Cole, the junior diplomat assigned to Elsa's security detail, watched from the sidelines. At 28, he was barely a footnote in the 900-year peace that had defined humanity's relationship with the Galactic Empire. He'd grown up learning about the Treaty of Proxima, signed after the brutal First Contact War had nearly exterminated both species. 9 centuries of carefully maintained neutrality, 9 centuries of cold peace. The trade routes through the Kepler sector must remain open to both our peoples, Elsa was saying, her voice steady and practiced. The treaty clearly states, the shot came without warning. A plasma bolt searing and blue-white struck Elsa in the chest. She crumpled, her body hitting the floor with a sound that seemed impossibly loud in the sudden silence. Jixon's world narrowed to that single moment. The woman who had mentored him, who had taught him that diplomacy was humanity's greatest weapon, lying motionless on the polished floor. The Zakarthian ambassador, Craval, stood with his weapon still raised. The Empire has tolerated human expansion long enough, he declared, his translator rendering his clicks and whistles into cold, mechanical words. The treaty dies with her. Jixon found himself moving. His hands were shaking as he knelt beside Elsa, feeling for a pulse he knew he wouldn't find. The medical team rushed forward, but it was too late. 900 years of peace ended with a single trigger pull. The funeral was held on Earth in the ancient city of Geneva where the treaty had been signed. Jixon stood among thousands of mourners watching as Elsa's casket was lowered into the ground. He remembered her words from their last private conversation. We maintain peace not because we're weak, Jixon, but because we remember what we're capable of when pushed too far. Now, across human space, something ancient was awakening. The Zakarthian Empire had grown complacent. 9 centuries of peace had made them forget what humans were before the treaty. They had forgotten that humanity had nearly won the First Contact War despite being a single-planet species, facing a galactic empire. They had forgotten that humans had agreed to peace not out of defeat, but out of mercy. 3 weeks after Elsa's assassination, Jixon received orders to report to Luna Command. The moon's military complex, dormant for centuries, was alive with activity. Ships that had been museum pieces were being recommissioned. Soldiers who had known only ceremonial duties were training for actual combat. Admiral Chen, a man whose family had served in the military since before the treaty, briefed the assembled officers. The Empire believes we've grown soft, he said, his weathered face grim. They think 900 years of peace has made us forget who we are. They're about to learn otherwise. Jixon was assigned to the Vindication, a dreadnought that incorporated 9 centuries of human technological advancement. Unlike the Zakarthian, who had stagnated in their dominance, humanity had continued to innovate, to improve, to prepare for a war they hoped would never come. The first battle came at the edge of the Kepler sector. The Zakarthian fleet, confident in their numerical superiority, advanced in their traditional formation, the same tactics they'd used for millennia. The human fleet, outnumbered 5-1, responded with a coordination and ferocity that caught the Empire completely off guard. Jixon watched from the bridge as human ships danced through the enemy formation, their AI-assisted combat systems allowing maneuvers that organic pilots couldn't match. Railguns, weapons the Zakarthian had never encountered, tore through crystalline hulls with devastating efficiency. Within an hour, the Imperial fleet was in full retreat. News of the victory spread through both human space and the Empire. More battles followed, each one demonstrating the same pattern. The Zakarthian had spent 9 centuries conquering and subjugating. Humans had spent 9 centuries preparing for the possibility that peace might fail. 6 months into the war, Ambassador Craval, now a prisoner after his flagship was captured, sat across from Jixon in an interrogation room. The Zakarthian's crystalline body had lost its luster, fractures running through what had once been pristine armor. Why? Jixon asked, the question that had haunted him since that day in the conference hall. 900 years of peace. Why throw it away? Craval's translator clicked softly, We thought you had forgotten how to fight. We thought time had made you weak. You thought wrong, Jixon replied. We never forgot. We just chose peace. General Martinez understood that our capacity for violence made our choice of peace meaningful. You killed the one person who truly believed we could coexist. 3 months later, the Zakarthian Empire sued for peace. Their fleets were shattered, their conquered worlds in rebellion, their economy in ruins. The terms humanity offered were harsh but fair. War reparations, demilitarization, and most importantly, a guarantee that no species would suffer under imperial rule again. On the anniversary of Elsa's death, Jixon stood at her grave in Geneva. A new treaty had been signed, but this time the galaxy understood the truth. Humanity's choice of peace was not weakness. It was strength restrained by wisdom. He placed a single white rose on the headstone and whispered, "The peace you built lasted 900 years, General. The peace you died for will last forever, because now they understand the cost of breaking it." Above, stars shone in the night sky, a reminder that among them, humanity had proven itself once more. Not as conquerors, but as guardians of the peace they had chosen, defenders of the mercy they had shown, and when necessary, as the warriors they had never stopped being.